I'm Allison.
And I'm Samantha.
And today we entered postulancy. I wanted to enter the convent because the Lord continued to pursue my heart, and He continued to call me to be all His.
I found a love that I was looking for, a love that I couldn't find in the world, a love that actually satisfied me, and He asked me to be all His, and how can I say no to He who is love? So I said yes.
I've learned a lot. It's been really beautiful. The Lord has continued showing me lights about myself, and it's been a beautiful time getting to know His heart more, and I'm beginning to know Our Lady's heart more too.
Very beautiful for me too to be more immersed in our charism and all that it means to be a servant. Very exciting and very grateful for all that the Lord has done and all that He will continue to do in Our Lady on this day, Our Lady Help the Christians.
You open your heart to Him and to respond because it's worth it.
And that God is infinite love and joy, so you'll never be disappointed if you give Him all of yourself.
So here's what people think it's like becoming a sister. Hi, I just met you like a week ago, but I'd really like to become a sister. Oh, perfect, awesome, no problem. Just sign this document right here. Don't read it, okay? Awesome, okay. Perfect. Now, here's all the terms and conditions you just signed for. Oh, thanks. What? And now this is what it's actually like becoming a sister. Hi, I just met you guys like a week ago, but I really think I want to be a sister. Oh, that's beautiful. How about you wait a few months? We'll pray about it. Let's look at this. Let's get to know each other a little bit better, and then we'll see. Okay, I can do that. All right, so I've prayed about it, and I still think I want to be a sister. All right, well, in that case, you can enter with us. You'll spend 4 years studying the terms and conditions of what it means to be a sister. And then after that, you'll make what's called temporary vows. So you've made your vows as a sister, but it's not on a permanent basis yet. And after those 4 years, before you make your temporary vows, it'll be another 6 years before you make your forever vows. So why don't you start reading these terms and conditions? So you're saying I have 10 years before I make a permanent decision? That's right. We just want to make absolutely sure that you're making this decision from yourself in freedom, and this is what God wants for you, because that's what's actually going to make you happy.
The truth that God puts our vocation in our heart in a particular way at our baptism.
I've been here for 64 years, so your understanding of the spiritual life really matures and it grows and it becomes clearer as you go through struggles. Every life has its struggles, and there certainly are struggles in our life also. And it's really, you think of the Lord, I come to do the Father's will. And I learned that that's really where transforming union comes in. It's really uniting our will and our life with what God wants. And then, of course, you study St. Teresa and St. John at the Cross. And St. Teresa says, my vocation is love.
The truth that God which up until that point, I'd never asked him that question, just planned my own way.
Is there an age limit to become a nun? It depends on the community. So for us, we have an age range of 18 to 40 for discernment, and that is so that you are fully an adult. And that is for us here on the western part of the United States. That is what we look at. There are exceptions to that. I know there are communities that take folks who are older. What it really ends up being is, if you are an older person, do you have debt? Do you have people who rely on you for income? That's where that sort of comes into play. So it really just depends on the community, but I would say for the most part, every community probably has an age range that they're looking for or at. And it's also dependent on what kind of work they do. Are they contemplative? Do they mostly stay home? Are they a cloistered community? Are they an active community, like my community is an active community? So, yeah.
A question that I get asked very often is, what is the process of becoming a sister? Well, it's different with every religious community, but I'll tell you what our process is, just so you can get a general feel of how it goes. First of all, you have to look at the denominations, Roman Catholic or Episcopal. Both denominations have religious communities. Look up their core beliefs and see which one resonates with you in your deepest soul, and then start from there and start looking at the different religious communities within that denomination. You can find a listing of all of our religious communities in the Episcopal Church at caroa.net. It gives you a list of all the women's communities, the men's communities, and the mixed communities as well. If you see one that appeals to you and really reaches you on a gut level, contact the superior of that community. Say that you're interested in religious life and see if they have a search program. We have a search program on Zoom where women can come and discuss religious life with us twice a year. And then if they choose to explore further with us, they can come for a visit. It's been a little weird during COVID, but we do have socially distanced visits, and they've been pretty successful. We've had 3 inquirers come and visit us this year. And after your first visit, go home and think about it, pray about it, talk to your priest about it, and then see if you want to come back and visit. I tell people to visit at least 3 communities if at all possible. It's sort of like choosing a college. You have to see which one the people appeal to you, their charism, their mission appeals to you, and just the feel of the place, the vibe of the community. See if that appeals to you, and get as many people as you can to support you in your search as to whether or not you are going to become a brother or a sister. It's a search, and sometimes it leads in other directions. After you visited a few times, then you can apply for a vocational visit, which is 1 month of living in with the sisters or the brothers. And some people can't do that. They only have 2 weeks vacation, so they'll take 2 weeks and do that as part of their vocational visit. The other 2 weeks they take later. After you come in for your visit, then you go away back to your life or whatever, and the community votes whether or not to make you a postulant. Then you can be a postulant for 6 months. After 6 months, the community votes as to whether you become a novice. That's when you get your habit. That's when you get a novice cross, your cincture, which is the thing you tie around your waist. And then you become a novice for 2 to 3 years. The community votes on you again to become first professed. And after you become first professed, you're first professed for 2 to 3 years, and then you become life professed, which means you make a commitment to the community for life. It's a long process. It can be between 6 and 8 years. Became a sister. Truthfully, I entered the community when I was 46 years old, so I had a long, varied life before I entered the community. But right before I entered the community, I was working in an advertising agency. I had been working in advertising for 20 years, advertising for movies, television shows, and for video game packaging. I had a very stressful job. Advertising, especially advertising in Hollywood, is extremely stressful because the deadlines are intense, almost impossible, and impossible sometimes. The competition between agencies is tremendous. The competition between studios for audience, moviegoers and TV audiences is very cutthroat, very, very bloodthirsty. And so I worked 10, 12-hour days. I worked on the weekends. I also had side gigs. I was in a band for 6 years, an acoustic rock band, so I was playing clubs out in Los Angeles for 6 years. And also I worked box office at one of the music venues, and I did music booking at one of the venues. So I had a very busy life, had tons of friends, a very active social life, but I don't drink or do drugs, and I never have. So I was always considered to be a little bit of a weirdo. I don't like to go to bars or clubs or anything like that. I never did, even when I was in my 20s. So I was considered to be a little bit strange, but my whole social life consisted of going out with friends to really great restaurants and having wonderful conversations. And I hung out with a lot of hilarious people. I always had tons of friends. I've been blessed with lots of friends in my life. So that's what my life was like before I entered the convent. And some people would say, well, why would you leave that behind? You know, your life sounds pretty great. And I think it was somebody else's life. It was a life that I thought was going to make me happy. But deep down, I knew it wasn't the life that I was really called to and that I should be living. And there was always something that felt like something was missing. So that's when I finally answered the call, is when I couldn't pretend to be normal anymore. I couldn't fit in with people who were just absolutely wonderful people, but I was just in the wrong area. It's sort of like if you're a really gifted baseball player and you've been trying to play football for years and years, it's not going to feel right. And that's how it was with me. So that's what my life was like before I entered the community.
And what are the possible requirements to enter a religious life? So in our congregation, we have the requirements kung paano ka makakapasok. So first is you must be a baptized Catholic. Yun, importante yun sa lahat. You must be a Catholic talaga kapag pumasok ka sa buhay madre. Then second, you must be mentally and physically fit. Then third is you must be at least high school graduate. So we also have the age limit. So kapag you are 19 to 35 years old, ay pasok yun. Pero kapag you are below or above that age, we can talk naman about it. So if you feel that God is really calling you to become a religious, then we can talk about it naman. And last, at one of the most important thing na mayroon ang isang babae na nagdi-discern to be a religious is that she must have a good motivation kung bakit at why would she like to enter a religious life. So that would be all. Thank you so much and God bless you.
Hello everyone! So sa mga nagtatanong kung ano-ano po yung mga requirements bago po pumasok ng convent. So una, kailangan po baptized Catholic po kayo. And then pangalawa naman po, you must mentally and physically fit. So dapat po healthy po tayo. And then third, at least you are a graduate of senior high school. And then yung age limit po ay 18 to 30 years old. Pero kung 35 years old ka and you feel like God really is calling you to religious life, then pwede po natin yung pag-usapan. And then the last but not the least, at napaka-importante po ay kailangan you must have a good motivation. Bakit po gusto po ninyong pumasok ng convent? Yun lamang po. Thank you so much.